Alrighty. Well, let's check the volume too. Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening somewhere. Even like Bali or something like that. Alright, let me just check my volume. Let's get that up there. There we go. There's Robin. Good morning, Robin. There we go. There's Robin. Good morning, Robin. All right. Sounds good to me. Looks like we're up and running and doing fine. All right. There we go. All right. There's the dollar index again up on J4X. We start off every day. Unless someone wants to see something else, we start off with the dollar index just to get a flavor of what's going on the overall market. And yo. And then we have, what do we have? Oh, that's Coin Exchange. Let's get rid of that for the time being at least. Save Workspace. And let's close that. Close Workspace. There we go. Yes to all. And then here is the, did I close the right one? Yes. Okay, and then here is the, where's it at? Right there. Here's the dollar index from the Chicago Mercantile. We look at two different dollar indexes. You see it's heading down just like, but they've both been doing the same. And we're in a weekly sell there. Is that right? Yeah, I guess that, no, I think it's been in a weekly sell a little bit longer back. Let's move that. That green shouldn't be there, I guess. Let's put the line in there. A little confusing there this morning. There we are. Because I know it's been in a weekly sell for a while. So let's get rid of that. Remove. And remove that one. Yeah, because we've been in a weekly sell for a bunch of weeks. Let's remove that one too. Let's see. Right there. Not sure what that is all about this morning, but as a matter of fact, something else seems to be missing also. I don't see the daily sell on. Oh, there it is. I see the daily sell. It just needs to be bigger. And as you can see right there, let's make it fatterish. Right there. There we go. There we are. Now you can see that much better. And there's the daily buy that kicked out a while back. Make that fatterish. Save that like so. There we are. So you see we've been in a daily sell from here back on the 4th. The 4th? Is that? That is the 7th, 8th, the 9th, 10th, 11th, and there is the 14th, and today is the 15th. Okay, so you can see that pressure has been on it for weeks now. And we've been in the weekly sell all the way back from the, I guess, the middle of October at this point. Just like, and you can see here, there was the middle of October. Is that the middle of October? Yeah, that was the middle of October. We had that bounce down, and then we went into a buy. And you can see on J4X, it goes up in value with the green hinkies and the green line underneath on the fast stochastic jumping above the slow stochastic right there. And then what you see is that action right here doing the same exact thing. Having those same characteristics. Like that. See it right there. So, that's where we stand. And the dollar, you know, we keep on thinking that interest rates are going to drop. And we keep on thinking metal, that's what would put energy into selling dollars and buying metals. And so far it's all playing out. You know, it's been doing that. And as we start off the day, the Dow has been up, sometimes 80, 90 points. Starting off at the London Open, it was, or the Swiss Open, or the Frankfurt Open, however you want to say it. It was up about 120 points, and then it fell up only 80 or 75 points, and now we're back up over 200 points. And so that's where we really stand at the moment. And it seems like I've heard the conversation about the idea that we're going to see maybe a 50 point 0.50 increase on the interest rates here in the States going into, I guess it's January? It's like the last days of December. I guess that's what it is. And then what will happen is maybe the next one will be like a quarter point. And that's what I would say, when we look at let's go look at our 30-year. Let's drift off from the currencies a little bit and take a look at the 10 or the 30-year. There's the 30-year bond. You can see it. When the bond goes up in price, interest rates are dropping. And so we've been seeing that. And we're flirting with a weekly buy. Let's move that up. I'm not sure why it's down there, but there we go. You can see this thing is through the zero line. So we can move that up right there. There we are. And move that part up like so. So that you can see the 30-year is through. The 10-year closed in a weekly buy last week. I'll show you the 10-year because we have a client looking at it. Where's that at? Right there. There's the 10-year. And the 10-year, closed in a weekly buy last week. It's been in a daily buy from here. You see that strength in it. They've been, the shorter term money. In other words, 10 years is considered shorter than 30 years. And obviously 5 years is shorter than 10 years. And so forth and so on. So it's starting, they're rallying these things because they're in the anticipation point now. And I'll give you an idea where the yield is. I think it's in the threes. And I think I had a webinar we had with you, like 2 weeks ago. And it showed the, bond at the time was yielding like 4.6 or 4.5 or something like that. And now the U.S. 10-year bond is yielding 3.81. Yeah, 3.81. So when it was down here, it was over 4.5 all along here. And now we are at 3.81 right there. So, interest rates are dropping here in the States because they're anticipating. I think we're at 3 now or 3.25. So, if they go a half a point up, that's 3 3/4. And then if they go to a quarter, that's 4 or 4.25. And that's what we were talking about during that webinar weeks ago about the interest rates. And that is that they are starting to prepare for sideways action because everybody's predicting a second recession going into, like we've been in recession for 6 months or 8 months or something like that. And they're talking about like it'll pop out of the recession possibly this quarter, and then go back into recession, next quarter, that type of thing. So we'll see how that plays out. But so far, we've had 2 quarters of negative growth, and that's considered a recession. All right, now from there we drift over again back to the currencies, and we take a look at the euro. Let's see what the euro is doing this morning. Yesterday we saw it was backing off a little bit and closed down just a teeny bit, but you can see our algorithms here. They did not. They kept it very strong in here, right there, and you can see same thing on J4X. There it is, right there, and you see all that strength, just like all our strength right here on Chicago Quant. And we've been in a weekly buy for the last 4 weeks. You can see the strength there, and this has been 4 or 5 weeks also. Let's take a look at a weekly chart on it. There you go. I see 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And then I think there's when we move this out of the way, like up there, I think you can see there's 4 for sure. There's 5. It's a green right there. It started off pushing, and you can see the green line here on the weekly is above the dash line, which is the slow weekly stochastic versus the fast stochastic. You see that strength in there. All right. And from there, we drift over to the cable. See what the cable's up to this morning. And there's the cable on Chicago Quant. You see the same situation. It's been pushing and shoving and getting it going and the whole bit. And you can see same thing with the weekly. We're 4 full weeks in it. And we started off in the middle of the 5th week back right there in the Chicago Quant. And then when we go and look at it on J4X right there, same situation. There's probably 5 green bars at least. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. And then we had a red and then a green again. So, you can see it's been trying to turn up. It's really been doing that battle. And you can see it tried to curve here. It was at the nice low end of the range. What was that? Like, it was 93, 92 and change. Really at the low end of the range. It really was off at an extreme. So you're seeing there that the weekly, matching up very well. And then we go back to the daily, or to the daily on this case here. Move that down right there. You see we're at the top end of the range now on the daily. And we're doing the same thing over here on Chicago Quant. You can see it's curving right there. And then again over here, it's up at the top end of the range and trying to curve to do this daily weakness. Now, again, with the interest rates probably staying in this area or sideways, there's a good chance that we won't see much of a change. And that'll just vacillate up at the top end of the range for a while. We'll see. We shall see as I take a sip of my tea. And then from there, we slide over to the Swiss, which we mentioned yesterday, has joined in again. The yen and the Swiss have joined in again with the same trend as the rest of the currency pairs against the dollar. And you can see it's been in the daily sell for a bunch of days. And it's been sliding along for a couple of weeks in the sell. So it's nice to see this back in the saddle again. Cowboy here. And let's put it up on J4X right there. And you see all that red matching up with our work. And you can see it's, where's that at? That's at, is that 9 or 3? What is that number? It looks like it's in the 3, so it's at 97. Is that right? Yeah, it looks like it is. It's like at 97. It's down there in the bottom area. It's really pressing. And it could, if the interest rates stay the way that it looks like they may, we're going to see that banging the bottom for a while. Let's see what it looks like on the weekly basis. There we are. There should be at least 3 reds. Well, 2 reds and 3 out of 4. Excuse me. So it's doing the same thing as Chicago Quant. It's joining in. And you can see it's driving down, and it's, where's it at there? It's at the 21 area. Remember, on Chicago Quant, it can only go from 0 to 100. Or in this case, here's 100, and there is 0. So it's trapped in between. On Chicago Quant, we can go, it'll keep on going. It'll go and go and go and go and go and go. It just keeps on flying along. It can go, infinity up, infinity down. That's the way our math works. All right. Now, from there, we go over to the yen. Quiet morning, huh, Robin? No one asking for anything. You happy with the oil contracts I sent over? And there's the yen. You see, same way as the Swiss, doing that same thing. Let's put it up on the board here on J4X. Yep, you see there. Matter of fact, I see red highs and lows too. So, it was reflecting just the way we started off 2.5 weeks ago, and it's doing the same thing here. And you can see, look at this. This has more room on the downside. Easily 31 compared to what, 21 over in the Swiss. And let's take a look at the daily. Right there. Didn't notice. Oh, okay. Everything went out fine this morning? All good in the hood? There we are. And there's your daily on the yen. You see lots of red. Just like here. Lots of red. Lots of red. And what started it off, I love that. We should make these bigger. And what starts it off is the red and green bar a lot of the times. It doesn't happen all the time. It just happens most of the time, which is fascinating in its own right. I'll take that. There we are. Oh, let me do that again because I want it to be a standard. So we'll go like that. There we are. Yeah, so you can see there we had the red and the green right there. And it tried to lift up for a couple days. And then we got a red and green here 4 days later. And it was the beginning of the top. Interesting. Always is. All right. Now, from there, where do we go from there? Let's go to, we go to the Turkish Lira, that's right. Let's see what the dollar Turkish Lira is doing first. And we'll throw that up on J4X. And there it is right there. Real sideways, upwardly action. First it was down, now it's trying to turn up. And over here, let's see, what do we got here? Dollar Turkish Lira. Right there. The most astonishing currency of them all. And you can see it's been in daily buy for 3 days right there. And then you can see we've been in a weekly buy for 41 whole weeks. I guess we should make that like red. Like a warning. Red warning, Will Robinson. Warning, warning. There we are. And so it's been 41 weeks in a weekly buy. And it seems like it's trying to lift again. That's the crazy part. Just when you think it might try to top out a little bit. And you can see the daily's doing that same thing. Yesterday we had a high in the daily of 1887. And today it's kind of quiet. I guess someone tried to buy it yesterday. That's the only reason we see these wild tails and the lows and the highs is because money comes in to try to buy or sell this thing, and there's no liquidity anymore. We seem to have lost the liquidity over the last 3 or 4 months. Gone. Really surprising for the size of the country and so forth and its economic power. But I guess when you have a currency that's gone from, you're talking about going from 1 to 18 over a 8 or 9 year period, it really is extremely influential in the sense of how many people are willing to put up with it. Used to trading it at 1s and 2s and 3s, and now it's 18. It's like they call that hyperinflation, I think. I mean, that's the only way to describe it. Hyperinflation. Let's see what it looks like on the weekly there. There's the weekly. Wow! On J4X, we have to make that the whole screen. Wow! Look at that. And that's like from the 8s back in 21. I mean, oh boy. Let's take a look at a monthly on that thing. Sometimes you can hear Doc talking about it and you start to like, what the hell's he talking about? But look at that. Back in 2015, it was at 3 and 2.5. Look at that. And now look at the poor thing. It's, and that, I mean, bad enough that it went from, I guess, can we tighten it up? Yeah, there we go. We can show you the ones, I think. There it is. There's your hyperinflation. Talk about hyperbole, Talk about hyperbole. Oh, I don't even know if you can, how can you, there's nothing to say about it at this point. It's like, how they say a picture represents like 1,000 words. Well, there you go. That's what they call hyperinflation. Obviously, the concept, whatever they're doing there, is not exactly what should be done. Invariably so. And then you can see we're back to the daily there. Now let's jump into the more, what I like to call the more liquid Turkish lira pairs trade, and that is the Euro Turkish lira. And we usually, make the joke location, 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 like in real estate, because Turkey is, bordering the European Union in many spots. or let's put it this way, in some spots. And so, you know, it's literally the heart of Euro-Asia, I guess, in many aspects. Between that and Iran, or Euro-Asia. And so you can see, let's put the Turkish lira up on this. The Euro Turkish lira right there. And it's a much smoother product, there's no doubt about it. And again, that's probably because trade is going on right next to each other. And it's the contango seems to be cleaning itself up, which is interesting. You know, it's trading at 19.37, and we have it's the dollar's trading at 18. Where is it at? Let me just go back to it real quick on Chicago Quant. What is that? 1860. So we got a contango that's starting to make some sense, you know, and that's a good thing. You know, you can see the 1860 here on dollar Turkish lira. Alrighty, where do we go from there? We go now. Where do we go from now? We go to back to the Turkish lira itself, and that is the daily. Take a look at the weekly. Oh, and let's put the back up on Chicago Quant at the same time. Just an astonishing thing. Wow, that was fun looking at the monthly. Oh my God, not fun. Oh, it's sad. Actually, it's not fun. It's sad. You know, because you're talking about hyper inflation. You know, you used to be able to buy like a euro with a Turkish lira back and forth. You know, then it was like, you know, 1 1/4, then 1 1/2, and then 2, then 3, and here you are at 19 now. So it takes 19 Turkish lira to buy 1 euro. That's, I mean, that's beyond double. That's triple. That's quadruple. That's, you know, it's like what they say, six tenthstel, something like that. Saying 16 in a plural way. You know, so I mean, it's like, wow. It is interesting, if nothing else. All right, but it hurts the population. That's the thing. It slows the economy. You know, when you have your currency going wonko like that. Interesting government policy there. They got to figure a new one, I guess. All right, from there, what else we got going on here? Okay, yes. So then from the Turkish lira, we go over to the Canadian. One of the currencies that we do two currencies: the dollar Canadian pairs trade and the dollar South African rand trade. We look at those two pairs, and one is compared to gold, the other one's compared to oil. So let's take a look at that. And there is the dollar CAD. And you can see it's been in daily sell from here. Let's see, do we have the dots straightened out? Let me just double check the dots. You know, we've been repairing we started a new computer here, so yeah, it needs to be fixed. So we remove that. Yes. And remove that. Yes. And then let's get that out of our face, and then add it. And there it is right there. You'll see red pop up. Yes. And then we will add, you can see it there. And then let's add the green right there. There we are. Oh, wow, look at that. We've got 2 red and greens going on. Some volatility kicking out. Now, we had the same thing happen here. Notice that right there? Oh, let's close that. There we are. Notice we had a red and green there, and we went into the daily buy, and it popped up. I'm not sure why our lines are not in there, but let's put them in there. There we are. I'm going to make that a little bit thickerish. Like that, and save it. There we are. So you can see there, you know, we went into the buy there with the red and green. Matter of fact, at this little top here, we went into red and green, and then it gave us a buy the next day, and then we started the rollover. That's how this works. It's really odd, this red and green thing. You know, it can be the next day. Sometimes it can go out as many as 3 days. You know, especially if it goes sideways. When it goes sideways with those dots, like now it's doing. You see here we have red and green, green on the top, red on the bottom there, and then you can see that it starts to roll over. It's trying to do it again. And we'll notice we're trying to get up. The daily here is trying to lift up. And the weekly's been in a sell since, up here on this peak. And then let's, over on J4X, let's put oil up there. Where is oil? Right there. There's like sweet crude from Texas. You see it's been moving down in value. Today I think it closed at 85 and changed yesterday, so it's almost unchanged, And then we'll take a look at it right here. There it is right there. Yeah, it's pretty much unchanged. What's it down? 71 cents. And you can see it's in a sell. It's a little sloppy, but the weekly is trying to turn up. So that's curious in its own right also. That we're getting that little push there, Which is okay with me.
Market data connection lost.
Action, ACTION.
Market data connection re-established.
Where's that mouse at? I lost my mouse. There it is. All right. So from there, there we are. So now, from the crude, what we do is we throw gold in there. Oh, and let's do this too over on J4X. Let's put the Canadian in there just to give you a flavor of how well it tracks with our math. See that downwardly drift. See the same downwardly drift there. Is that it? Oh, no, that's oil. Let's get it over to here. Let me just fix that too at the same time, like that, and then go like that. There we are. And you see that same downwardly drift. And then we'll take a look at it on J4X with the weekly. Right there. And so that's the action you see there. It's got that big downwardly drift also, and you see 4 reds, and we're 3 reds on a weekly with the pink line, and you can see the week before that it was pushing down 2 at the same time. So we're seeing that pressure there. It's always neat to see the action. Let's see. Just filling in. I had to put a password in for something. I just went to go look for it. And there we go. All right. Now over here, we're going to look at the South African Rand. Right there. You see the Rand is, we've been looking for this area here, figuring it's going to challenge the 17. And sure enough, it is. It's been pressing on it. And at the same time, we see, where is it at? Over here. There's the South African Rand. See, it's pressing down also. And we throw gold in. Let's throw gold in over here. And you can see gold has been lifting up. And that's on the weekly. And then when we go and look at the daily, right there, you see that strength in it. So as the South African Rand has been going down, right there, you see gold moving up right there on the daily. And that has been the pressure. It has been an interesting pressure. And from there, where do we go from there? Let's do the reverse. I like to do the reverse just to emphasize it sometimes. So, just confirming that characteristic. And so there is gold. You see that gold's just been lifting for weeks, and it's been trying to bottom out very well. Again, I repeat myself sometimes about this, and that is we do expect to see interest rates go down, and we expect to see pairs trades go up against the dollar, and we look for gold to go, and silver and everything else, all the metals to go up against the dollar. It seems like that's the recipe. All right, from there, where do we go from there? All right, there's the mouse. And let's put in, let's see, there's the gold. Oh, let's put South African Rand in there again. Right there. Same thing, burying it down. Look at it's on the daily. You can see here on the daily, the J4X stochastic is just buried down at the bottom. Just buried. It's a 7. Is that 7? 6 something now? There it is. 6 something on the slow. So the slow is down at 6 something, and the green is at 10. So you can see they're down at the bottom end of the range. That product is down at the bottom end of the range and is not bumping around. Okay, what else we got going on here? I guess from there, we drift over to... Still quiet. No one asking questions. Interesting. From there, we go to... We'll finish off... We go to the south of the border, and we look at the Mexican peso. And then we go on to the metals complex. We can look at gold and silver and so forth. And there is the peso. And it seems to be developing a new bottom range. I guess the Congress now is almost complete. So I'd imagine that this will stay here. We're 1 seat away now. They say that we're going to be three or four seats. 3 or 4 seats majority, so we're going to control the House. When I say we, the parties, the political spectrum is shifting, and the Senate did not go 4, 5, or 6. I was totally wrong. It's fighting for it to be equal again, 50-50, because that won't be decided until there's 2 more races. One is really strange. Alaska has 2 Republicans now running against each other. They have a really strange system there. And then the second one is Georgia, December 6th. There is a Democrat and a Republican running against each other. So there we are. Let's take a look at that, the Mexican peso on Chicago Quant. And there it is right there. You can see today it's trying to lift through. I think as it breaks the range, like you can see here, this dotted line right there, I think that tells us that they think that the politics is moving into its favor here in the States. And let's take a look at on the weekly. You can see the weekly has been in the weekly sell since up in here on Chicago Quant. It's at 5 weeks. Almost 6, started off in the 6th week and then confirmed in the 5th week. Let's take a look at it right there. There's probably 6 or 7 reds. Let's see. Oh, yeah. There's 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep. There's 6 right there, and there's a 7th. So it's been pressing down. You can see it's trying to lift up here. And it's buried, too. That weekly is one of the lowest of the weeklies. Look at that. A 10 on the slow. The fast is trading at 16, but the slow is trading at 10. So it's still trying to adjust itself for the political situation change that we're having here in the States. Because the Mexican peso, Mexico makes out very well when we have a responsible government. It loses value when we have a irresponsible government. But when we have a more capitalistic society and growing, Mexico does better. All right, from there, we'll go over to the metals complex. But if anybody wants to see a currency pair, just let us know. We will go back to it. So I might as well just close this out for the time being. There we are. And there's gold, as you see, climbing, climbing, climbing. And then you see right here, there's the silver, climbing, climbing, climbing. And let's see what it looks like over here. There it is right there on the silver. And you see that's been climbing also. And we've been in a weekly, look at, there's 4 bars for the weekly. And it's been tight, the fast and the slow. And they're getting high up. There's no doubt about that. But not to the top. We're in the 70s, so that's pretty cool. And then over on Chicago Quant, you can see the same thing, is that this thing is climbing and not letting go. And it just seems like that's going to be the recipe. I mean, really is. It seems to be the... metals should climb. I mean, I would love to see it get to 26. I don't know if we're going to see 26, but there's no doubt that there is a bounce that is here, and it is steady. Let's put it that way. Now we go back to the daily on J4X, and there's the daily. Lots of green, and it's been zigging and zagging since the lows. And we were really surprised that they beat it up as much. Back there in, what is that? That was September. They made the lows of the lows down into the 17 and change, 1740. 1740. Let's see if we move this over a little bit. See, that's one heck of a low. Let's take a look at it over on J4X. When was the last time we were in the 17s? You can see going way, way back. And obviously not on a daily. Let's make it a weekly. Right there. I guess back in 2000, it made a challenge. What is that? Is that 2020 or 2019? At the end of 19, at the beginning of 2000, the first quarter, they pushed that thing all the way down to 11 and change. Boy, how scrumptious that was, Seems like it's resting on the top of this area here, which is kind of cool. Wow. All right. And then from there, let's go over to copper. Right there. Off a little bit from yesterday, no doubt. But they were making the challenge to $4 again, which is really nice since they were down in the low 3s. There's all kind of... This is the gold of China. So, when there seems to be positive things going on in China economically, this usually takes off, and that's what we're seeing here now. It's taking off. And we talked about it yesterday. There's serious talk about Evergrande. They said they're going to deal with the $7 trillion problem. They've not done anything about it. That's worse than the collapse of the real estate market in the Western world, or the whole world, I guess. That's what started the QE. QE was created because of the real estate collapse. They were lending money and double lending and then triple lending money against the same house, the same piece of property, which bankrupt Lloyd's in London and Merrill Lynch and Lehman Brothers, and it goes on and on and on. Citibank and Santander and Bank of Scotland and Deutsche Bank, and we can keep on going on and on and on. They all are gone. They're owned by somebody else or by their exchequer or / central bank at this point. And let's put copper up on J4X. Right there. And you see that's the weekly, reflecting the same action we're seeing. The four weeks of it, and we're 4 full weeks in it here too. Started 5 weeks back, and then let's start off on the daily now. And there's the daily of the copper. You see it's just been kind of bouncing around a little bit. There's that bounce thing going on. You can see here it sold down yesterday, but we're still not in the daily sell. We're over here on Chicago Coin. You can see we're still holding up. And over on J4X, we do have the green line piercing, but it was up in the high 80s. I mean, at one point it was even higher. It might have been 90, but it was definitely in the 88, 89, something like that. When it comes to the stochastics, battling with each other. 2 stochastics battling with each other. And then, let's see where we go from there. We go to I just want to answer this question someone just asked. Now, from there, we go over and we're going to take a look at platinum. It might be at the $1,100 area. No, I guess it would be. Yeah, it could be. Let's see where platinum is. There it is right there. That's January platinum. And it's been playing with the 1,050 area. Pretty good for a couple of days and still holding up right around there. The high is, what's that? 1,058. And then the next day it was 1,053. And today's high is 1,046. So just drifting a little bit. And then the day before that, they knocked it down. You can see here, it tried to get it. Did it get in the sell? No, it did not get in the sell because the green line, was that over? Let's see if that's a minus. Is that a minus? Oh, it did. It got into a sell. So it's put a sell in there. And now it's back in. It's trying to get back into the buy today. There we are. And you can see that everything else is doing what it's supposed to be doing. And this is always a good warning sign that metals seem to follow the platinum on some level or another. All right, from there, we where do we slide over to? We go to, from the platinum, I guess that's about it. That's the 4 metals. Yeah, exactly. All right, now we'll go over to the energy sector. And there is crude oil, like we saw earlier when we were looking at it on the Canadian. And then let's slide in crude oil over here. In this case here, we go right to Brent, North Sea oil, because we have a chance to see it. And you can see the pressure on it. And yesterday was kind of ups and downsy, yeah. You can see the little green line here on the daily. And then let's take a look at the weekly, right there. And we went into a weekly sell last week here on light sweet crude out of Texas, and now it's trying to climb back into the buy. Like I say, I have a hard time believing that in heading into the dead of winter we're going to see lower oil prices, but anything's possible. All right. Then from there, I'm going to show you the contango in the United States, the back month. And there's the February contract right there. Doing the same gig. Wait a minute. What's up with that? That needs to be fixed. That's a buy. But somehow or another, the price is all kinds of whack on it. And then you can see here, the weekly is still holding up. And it's probably even higher. What day is that? That's Friday. Okay, so it probably closed at the right spot. Okay, but the low seems to be wrong. All right. What do we do from here? we jump over to gas. Let's see what natural gas looks like. And that's been in a weekly sell for a while. You can see it there since way back in mid-September. Let's put natural gas up on J4X. Right. Let's see, where's that? Right, it's got to be around here somewhere. There it is, natural gas. And so that's been in the weekly. What's this? Is that weekly? Yeah, that's weekly. So we got, this thing has climbed into a buy. Interesting. The weekly has climbed into a buy. But ours has not. It's been staying in this long downtrend. I guess it climbed in there with the stochastic from that. Let's take a look at it on a daily basis. There's a little divergence there. And it did try to reflect some strength, but overall, you can see it's just been a sideways. 2 days of strength, that's all it was, and then back down again. And you can see here on a daily basis, you see it's trying to turn up right there, and we're not getting that yet. Is that right? Let's just double check. Yeah, it's trying to turn up, but we got the red here, so it's making it very hard for it to turn up. We'll see how that plays out. And over here, we're looking at, this is December gas. We're going to be switching next week into January gas. But it's been a daily sell from here, and it's just been sideways to down. The Hinkies sometimes hide that, unfortunately, but the way it goes. All right, from there, we jump over to a Spanish oil company, gas oil company. So it gives us a little flavor of what's going on in Europe. And I can see it right there. Trading at 26.94. Maybe natural gas must be in the 26 to 27s per cubic foot. Whereas in the States here, you can see the up on Chicago Quant right there. It's trading. Let's make that even bigger. Let's see. Like that. It's trading at like $6 a cubic foot, and that's pretty harsh, when you think about it. Unfortunately, I mean, to see it 4 times greater in Europe, it really hurts. There we go. Yeah, so I mean that's trading 4 times higher in Europe, at least, if not more. Now, from there, we jump over to what other energies can we look at? Oh, we can take a look at like gas oil or heating oil and things like that. Let's just heating oil in the States is actually dropping, and I don't know if I can get it on J4X. I've never been able to find it. Wish Janos was around. He'd be able to tell us if they have it. Does anybody know out there if we have that? That would be interesting, Let's see, right there. Let's see the chat line again. Anybody saying anything up on chat? I don't see anything. Robin says he'll be right back. That's about it there. So, yeah, there's no other way of looking at energy. So we'll take a quick look at the heating oil in the States. Now, this is a cross between diesel and heating oil are almost the same that runs diesel trucks. So there it is right there. This is the December contract. We'll be switching that one going into next week also. You can see there it's in a weekly sell. It's trying to get into the buy. You can see that right there. But it's not succeeding at it. It's been in the daily sell since there. So we've seen it come down from the 390s down to the 360 area. Not too bad. Doesn't seem to be translating it out on the street, but we'll see. And that's pretty much the energy universe that we look at. Now, we can go from there, unless someone wants to see something, we can jump over to, where is it? Let's take a look at the stock indices. So we'll go over to J4X. And there is the S&P 500, the world's index, as I call it. Playing around for the last couple of days in that area. Notice the sideways action. on the daily, and let's put it up over here, right there. And you can see that action right there. And it's been in a daily buy for 3 days and gone relatively nowhere. And then you can see we've been in a weekly buy for 4 full weeks. And it started on the 5th week back, but it didn't confirm until the 4th week. So let's check that out right there. Probably see a lot of greens here too. It should be at least 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, exactly. Because it reflects what we had and then more. And so you can see here the strength has been there. It's doing its topping out thing there. For us, on our weekly, it's still gliding cleanly up. We got an echo of the 5 underneath it, showing a little weakness, but it's holding up pretty well here. You can see that this is the weekly, and it's well above the 0 line. Let's emphasize that 0 line. And there it is right there. And you can see that strength. And from there, we see the, what do we see there? We see the S&P trying to go sideways. I think it might be another up day. They could trap a few things, especially if they announce 217 turning into 218. Once they do that, that should give the market some type of pop, I would think. Solely because it's been disappointed by not getting a hold of the Senate, but at least they have the Congress. That would be great. I'm just checking what UPI says, or API. 205 to 217, so we just need one more seat. That's it. And then we'll see how they play it out from there. Play it out from there. And where do we go from there? Let's go to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. That's been on fire. We've talked about that. That has been literally on fire. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to open up, instead of opening it up here, I think I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the weekly, the chart that we send out over the weekends to everybody that I've been doing since 1982 or something like that. Yeah, 1982. So it's 18, that's over 40 years I've been doing that. Let's do this. Where's it at? There it is right there. And we'll open that up. That'll be even more fun. Funish. And you can see right there, that is Bitcoin. Obviously our math was picking that up on some level or another. But let's go. I send out Bitcoin, I send out the VIX. And there's the VIX. This is the volatility index. You can see that thing's been in a sell for a while. You know, screaming bull market, bull market. And then we show you the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is right, is that it right there? There, no, that's Bitcoin again. There it is. Right there. And you can see we're still gliding along. We've had these green dots, these big green marks on the high and low that we measure it from that action. You can see it's actually flirting. Where is that? Is that a minus there? It's just right on the edge, isn't it? It is flirting on some small level, you know. It is flirting with trying to sell. Matter of fact, it's what, plus 16. It's plus 16 at the moment. It's not falling apart. It's not doing anything particular, but it's you know, it's holding up, and it's been on a rampage. Whereas the S&P, let me go back to the S&P. You can see the S&P. Where is it at? Right there. Yeah, there's the S&P in a weekly buy for 3 weeks. But for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, where is it at? Let's go back to that again. The Dow Jones Industrial Average has been in a weekly buy for 5 weeks. 5 weeks. And so it's been on a rampage. And that ever since we had the wild, you know, the 4 of the 5 right there. when we do this, we'll move that box over one more like that. Ever since we've had the 4 out of 5 inside-outside days. And that happens a lot at major moves. You can see here we have a 2 of it and another minor expansion gets going again. And you can see we go into a daily buy right there and it just takes off and doesn't let go. You know? I mean, that is the action of it all. Let's see who's ringing here. Don't know it. Let's see. Let me just double check that because we are at the end of the webinar too at the same time. So at this point, I guess we're going to say goodbye because we've gone through things. Unless someone wants to see something, I'm going to jump out of here and get ready. You're back? Cool, Robin. I'm going to get out of Dodge, unless someone wants to see something. And I guess what we should do is yesterday it took a while for me to come up with a name or a title for the day. Before I get off this, let's put a title in there too. Anybody have an opinion on a title? What should we call today? Let's see. There we are. Let's put a title in for today. I guess we talked about S&Ps. We've talked about the metals. I guess energy. Let's see what yesterday's title was. Yesterday's title was about the metals. I think we called it. When did we do it? We called it. Where is that? There was a good title. I don't see it on my title. Doc? It's asking for a title. Yesterday was the metals. I could have sworn I put it in there. I don't see it in there now. But let's put today's in there. And that is... let's see, what did we talk about? We talked about currencies, of course. Was there anything that jumped out of currencies? Not particularly, right? Maybe Turkish Lira in some ways, where the contango is starting to widen again. So let's try that. Turkish Lira. Let's see if we do that. All right, traders, we're out of here. We're going to put that up there as the title today. So this is Doc from North America. We will catch you same time tomorrow on Happy to Hump Day, Wednesday. So, happy trails to you until we meet again, which will be Wednesday. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders.